There are mornings when the world feels new, when the sky looks like it is learning how to breathe, and a quiet voice inside you whispers that life can be different. Ayaan stood at the edge of his own doubts and watched the horizon warm from gray to gold. He did not have answers. He did not have a plan. He only had a feeling. If he changed his thinking, his life would follow. Ayaan's home was small, but full of effort. His father counted coins with careful fingers. His mother's smile held the strength of 3 lifetimes. They asked for nothing but a safe future for their son. And so he walked the path that looked safe from the outside and heavy from within. He learned to hide his questions behind polite nods and late-night study sessions. It wasn't the world that trapped him. It was a sentence repeated in his mind. I'm not special. The more he believed it, the truer it became. Rejections sounded like proof. Comparisons felt like truth. He carried invisible chains forged by his own thoughts, and they were heavier than steel. One evening, he escaped the noise and wandered into an old library where silence felt alive. Between tall shelves, he found a book with a simple promise: change your thoughts, change your life. He opened it without expecting magic and found a single line that felt like a key turning in a locked door. What you think, you become. One evening, he escaped the noise and wandered into an old library where silence felt alive. Between tall shelves, he found a book with a simple promise: change your thoughts, change your life. He opened it without expecting magic and found a single line that felt like a key turning in a locked door. What you think, you become. He chose a small skill, web design, because small doors often open to big rooms. He watched tutorials, ruined layouts, broke pages, and kept going. He replaced the sentence "I can't" with a quieter one: I'm learning. It did not make him perfect. It made him present, and presence created progress. His first client did not arrive with trumpets. It was a message that simply said, "Can you help?" He did. And when payment arrived, it felt less like money and more like proof that thoughts can be rebuilt into bridges. He thanked the stranger and also thanked the version of himself who did not give up. The world tested him as the world always does. A major project failed hours before delivery. Files corrupted, deadline close, breath short. The old mind would have broken. The new mind chose its words carefully. Stay steady, fix what you can, finish what you started. He rebuilt from backups, simplified what didn't matter, and delivered as the sun rose. The client heard the story behind the delivery and understood the man behind the work. Respect arrived before reward, and Ayaan realized the difference. Money proves value to others. Discipline proves value to yourself. He carried both with quiet gratitude. Work grew, skills matured, but what changed most was his inner weather. Where storms once lived, a steadier sky began to form. He planned his days, practiced his craft, and protected his thoughts like a gardener protects young trees. He said no to chaos so he could say yes to purpose. People started asking how he changed. He did not share secrets. He shared sentences. Your thoughts are not chains, they are choices. Start small. Begin again. He taught from scars, not from scripts. And the room listened because honesty has a sound you cannot fake. One evening, He looked into the same mirror that once held a stranger. It now held a man who had learned to stand with himself. The world had not become easier. He had become truer. He touched the glass and felt no distance between who he was and who he was becoming. He understood at last. Thoughts are seeds. Plant fear and you harvest hesitation. Plant anger and you harvest loneliness. Plant hope and you harvest strength. He chose again and again to plant what he wanted to live inside him. Destiny, he learned, is not a finish line. It is the sum of ordinary days shaped by extraordinary attention. Wake, choose a better thought, take a better step, make a better hour. Repeat. This is how a life turns from surviving to luminous. If you are where Ayaan once stood, tired, uncertain, convinced that average is your destiny, listen closely. You are not late. You are not broken. You are simply unpracticed at speaking to yourself with respect. Begin there. Protect your hours. Feed your mind. Give your hands good work. Your life will adjust to the new language. On a quiet morning at the shore, he watched waves arrive exactly on time. No wave hurried. None were late. He realized growth has its own tide. Your task is not to command the sea. Your task is to keep showing up at the water's edge, ready. The sentence that once felt like a stranger had become the ground beneath his feet. Change your thinking. Change your destiny. Not because thoughts alone build bridges, but because the right thoughts make you the kind of person who builds them. He smiled, not at what he had earned, but at who he had become on the way. He turned his story outward. He told it so others could hear their own. He learned that when you share light, you do not lose flame, you multiply dawns. He ended every conversation with the same invitation. Choose one thought today that makes you stronger and protect it like a beginning. This was never a story about luck. It was a story about choice. Your mirror is waiting. Your morning is ready. Your thoughts are listening. Change one and watch your hours rearrange themselves around it. When you change your thinking, you do not escape your life. You learn how to live it.